Beneath the fluorescent lights of Suite 4B, past the photocopier that moaned like a dying whale, in the stale scent of microwaved noodles, floated a life no one remembered. It was an office like any other gray walls, gray minds, gray hours dripping like cold coffee. But inside the aquarium, tucked into the corner of the break room, hidden behind plastic seaweed and a castle forever sunken, lived a small, almost translucent fish named Marlin. He had not been bought with affection or even attention. He had been part of a corporate gift years ago, an afterthought swimming circles for a celebration no one could recall. Over time, the other fish disappeared, some from age, some from mysterious filters, some simply ... gone. And yet Marlin remained, a solitary soul suspended in a forgotten world. He was a creature of routines. At 9:02 each morning, a sliver of light struck the tank just right, and Marlin would circle once, twice, 3 times, then rest behind the driftwood, watching. He watched Jennifer laugh too loudly at nothing, watched Greg refill his mug 8 times a day but never finish it, watched lives unfold from behind glass like a priest behind stained windows. They, in turn, forgot him. No one fed him anymore, not on purpose, just negligence made invisible by routine. And so algae crept across the corners, and the water turned a murky shade of office fatigue. Marlin's world shrank into a sickly green silence. But he adapted. He found nutrition in things fish were not meant to eat. He nibbled flakes of ceiling dust, sucked at copper residue from corroding tank ornaments, even bit the occasional insect who mistook the surface for sky. Survival became instinct, then philosophy. Each breath was rebellion, each movement a hymn. Marlin was alive, but he was utterly cosmically alone. Then came the intern. Her name was Elise, and unlike the others, she did not move in a straight line. She twirled in her chair when no one watched and hummed old French songs under her breath. On her 3rd day, she spotted the tank. She squinted, leaned in, and there, amid a fog of algae and forgottenness, she saw Marlin. Not clearly. He was faint, as if drawn in graphite. But he darted when she tapped the glass, and her eyes widened as though she'd uncovered Atlantis. "There's a fish in there," she whispered, and no one responded. The world of Suite 4B didn't notice miracles unless they filed reports. That afternoon, Elise brought a small bottle of water conditioner from home. She changed a quarter of the water, apologized to Marlin with a voice like tea and velvet, and promised to come again. She kept her promise. Each day after her tasks, she'd tend to the tank. She named him officially Marlin and even made a tiny cardboard sign that read, "Do not tap." She brought fish food, real food. He hesitated at first, unused to kindness. But hunger is the bridge between all living things. Slowly, he grew stronger. His fins fanned like silk banners. His eyes shone, not just with health but recognition. Elise spoke to him, not as a pet but as a friend. She told him about the chaos outside the deadlines, the existential dread, the accidental email she sent to all staff with a typo that turned file into fail. Marlin listened, or seemed to, because sometimes when she paused to breathe, he would press himself against the glass, hovering like a ghost with purpose. For the first time in years, he mattered. Not to the office, not to the world, but to someone. And in return, Marlin did what no fish had done before. He began to hope. But hope, as every good story reminds us, is a double-edged fin. Elise's internship ended, its month's brief as a blink, weighty as a century. On her last day, she left a note beside the tank. To whoever reads this, his name is Marlin. He's survived more than any of us. Please feed him. She placed a small jar of flakes beside it. She kissed her fingertips and tapped the glass goodbye. Then she vanished, swallowed by adulthood. The office read the note, smiled, forgot. Days passed. The food remained untouched. Marlin waited. Each morning, he did his 3 circles. Each evening, he floated near the surface, watching shadows move past. Once again, the algae returned. The water thickened. This time, something was different. Marlin remembered not just survival, not just instinct, but care, warmth, a world outside the glass. And he began to act. He swam with vigor, splashed when the lights turned on, even flared his gills dramatically when Greg approached the fridge. Eventually, Greg noticed. Then Jennifer. "Did that fish just glare at me?" she asked one Tuesday. Greg read the note. He fed Marlin. Poorly, but it was something. Jennifer cleaned the tank during lunch. Soon, others joined. They took turns. They even made a schedule. And just like that, the office began to change. Conversations grew kinder. Coffee tasted warmer. Meetings ended with smiles. And in the corner, Marlin swam not as a relic, but as a symbol. He had been forgotten, but he endured. And because of one intern, he was remembered. There are those who think fish can't feel, that their memories fade after seconds, but Marlin would disagree. Somewhere in a quiet office where time moves slowly and hope once drowned in algae, swims a fish who remembers everything.